That was just really tough to watch. To end off the road trip in Indiana, who the Raptors have done a pretty good job against in the first two games against them this year, winning both. They go in there, they play no defense, and they get demolished 114-97. They're now 9-11 on the season. You see the whole of OG Anunoby, and you see the whole of even Yuta Watanabe in a game like this. Obviously, Utah didn't play for injury management. Obviously, he played in the last game, so he didn't play today. OG is still out. But the Raptors, and you could tell from the early goings of this game, I mentioned in the last video, I'm like, they need that second half momentum to carry over into this game and beyond. It didn't happen. I felt like in this game, every time they were driving, they were getting to the rim, they were getting their shots. And when they didn't have that, when the Raptors contested that shot at the rim, they kicked it out to a wide open three-point shot and they knocked it down, at least in the early goings. The Raptors were doing the same thing in the first quarter. Second, third, fourth, totally different story. Raptors were shooting over 60% from the field in that first quarter, and after one quarter of play, the Raptors are up 35-31. A very high-scoring affair, and I'm thinking to myself after that first quarter, I'm like, look, if this Raptor team wants to win this game, they gotta find a way to dig in defensively because you cannot keep that pace up offensively. I don't care who you are, 60% from the field, 35% in the quarter. You're not gonna do that every time. And when do they go out there in the second quarter? They start sticking offensively. They only scored 22. The problem, though, they allowed 35 more. You allow 66 points at halftime. That 4-point lead is gone, and you're down 9 heading into the break. The lackluster defense in the first half continues. It was just like the last game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Watching that first half offense be great for Memphis and the defense of the Raptors be abysmal or non-existent. But in the second half, you need to find a way to dig in off defensively and just find your groove offensively. They didn't get that. The second half combined, the Raptors scored a total of 40 points. And I don't care how good you are defensively, when you score only 40 in the second half and you're down by 9, good luck trying to win that game. In the third quarter, they scored 24, but they allowed 26. You're down 11 going into the fourth quarter. And at one point, I believe it was in the fourth or in the later half of the third, they got it down to 6 points. They were right there. Ramped it right back up to 11 again, and that was all she wrote. And in the fourth, you guys can do the math. I said they scored 24 in the third quarter. I said they scored 40 in the second half. They scored 16 in the fourth quarter. It's not good enough. They allowed 22, and you lose 114-97. They started chucking up bad shots, and that's when I was like, all right, I've had enough of this, Once they're down 11, 13, and then they start taking stupid shots, I'm like, that's it, ball game. Yeah, you don't start looking for good looks. You could kind of tell where it was going, and that was it. Remember when I said the Raptors were shooting 62% from the field, or over 60% from the field after the first quarter? They ended the game with 42% from the field. That tells you how bad they were offensively the rest of the game. We'll get into specific players right now. All right? We'll start with Fred VanVleet. 26 points, 5 boards, 4 dimes. Got into some foul trouble. Could be a really big factor there. 10 of 21 from the field. 2 of 3 from the line. 4 of 10 from 3. A steal and a block for Fred. And he was fine. But the foul trouble early, I think he had 4 fouls through 3 quarters. And you got to be careful going into the fourth. And it just wasn't good. Scotty Barnes left late in the second quarter, and his thumb was really bothering him. Comes out in the third and does an incredible job. Ends the game 17 points, 7 boards, 4 assists on 5 of 9 shooting, 7 of 9 from the free throw line, had 2 steals and a block. I would love to see him shoot more. 5 of 9, I'd love to see him be just, I understand when his hands, I get it. When your thumb's not feeling good, you don't want to shoot a lot. I understand that. But man, oh man, 5-9 and 17 points, man, I want to see him do more. Pascal Siakam, you know people are going to blame him because that's just the way it works. 17 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 7 of 17. Not the greatest percentage. 2 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 of 4 from 3, and that 1-3 happened early in the game in that first quarter. So you could arguably say he kind of trailed off near the end, as really the rest of the team did as well. Gary Trent Jr. had an off night. 13 points, 1 board, 1 dime, 4 of 11 from the field, 4 of 4 from the line, 1 of 5 from three-point range, and had a couple steals. So not a great night offensively for Gary Trent. And the top scorer off the bench for the Toronto Raptors was Chris Boucher with 9. 4 boards, 4 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. The bench was useless. Now, we could talk about Pascal Siakam. We could talk about Gary Trent Jr. struggling offensively today and how the starting unit kind of struggled defensively in this one. The bench unit gave you nothing. Like, absolutely squat. Svi Mykhailiuk he had a great stretch there shooting the ball. He was terrible tonight shooting the basketball. 2 points on 1 of 6 shooting, or at least it was when I looked at it last. And 0 of 3 from 3. He was terrible. And wide open shots, too. Just can't knock them down. You know, Delano had 2, and Malachi had 2, and it's just like you're getting no productivity where 2 of their guys were in double figures. I think they had 15 and 14. Martin had 15, and some other guy had 14. You know, and we're getting squat from our bench. So we can blame the starting unit all you want, but when your bench is giving you absolutely nothing, the pressure on your starting unit is just that much more. And when you're starting flipping score on the bench is Boucher with 9, it's just not going to cut it, man. It just really isn't going to cut it. On the road, you need all hands on deck. And your starting unit, look, 26 for Fred, 17 for Scotty, 17 for Pascal, Gary Trent had 13, and even Precious had 9 in the game. But the rest of the team gave you nothing. On the offense and the defense. It was bad. Now, let's get to the team stats. We were talking about the 42% from the field for the Toronto Raptors, 23% from three-point range, 73% from the free throw line. They shot 48% from the field and 28% from three-point range and 82% from the free throw line. So, you know, very similar numbers in the three-point shooting category for the Raptors and the Indiana Pacers. But the discrepancy is in the paint in many different aspects. You're minus 12 on the glass. Minus 4 on the offensive glass. That's what the Raptors need to dominate if they're going to win games. You're not a great offensive team, so you need to get those second and third opportunities. You're minus 12 on the glass, minus 4 on the offensive boards. Not a good start there. Minus 14 in the assist category. Now, that could be obviously a tribute to missing shots, but as I mentioned earlier, the driving and the kicking that they were doing, and they're making their shots, those are assists, and they ended up with 31 in the game. The Raptors didn't even crack 20. You know, a lot of motto stuff. A lot of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take this big shot from the Toronto Raptors tonight. And you're not a team that can do that. You got to get that ball humming. You got to get the wide open shot. And they weren't doing that. Points in the paint, I mean, that attributes to on the offensive glass. You were getting destroyed, and Sabonis was incredible. Minus 12 in points in the paint. And you were minus 4 in the offensive glass. You were minus 12 in second chance points. So all in and around the rim, you were just getting flat out destroyed. And is that a thing to not having a traditional big? That's quite possible. But it's also the fact of your defense flying around like nut jobs and not covering guys. The switching was terrible. We talked about it in the second half in the last game. The switching was great. That's why they were playing such good defense. And they were playing gray model, keeping the guy in front of them, getting your rebounds. They didn't do any of that today. At any point. You can talk about, well, you know, they held them to only 48 points in the second half. You allowed 66 in the first half. If you need to win this game, you needed to lock it down like you did against Memphis. You didn't do that. And you needed your offense to do what they did against Memphis. You didn't do that. The only good news now is you're done on the West Coast. You're done on that, or I guess Indiana's technically on the West Coast, but the road trip is over for the Toronto Raptors now. A 2-4 swing in the 6-game road trip. Not great. And a couple of the games weren't even really close. Now you come home. The next game for the Raptors is on Sunday. All right. They welcome in the Boston Celtics to Scotiabank Arena. It's a 6 p.m. tip-off there. And if you know sports very well, you know that first game back after that West Coast swing is always a tough one. Because you're going from time zone to time zone to time zone. It's not like the Raptors have 2-3 days off, like the Leafs do, I believe. No, do the Leafs play tonight? Oh, they play Sunday as well against Anaheim. But then they have like a 3 or 4 day gap and they don't play till Tuesday. I don't flipping know. Either way, when you don't have a long layoff, it's going to be tough. And 6 p.m. against a good Boston Celtics team, I don't care what the record is. I haven't even looked at the record. I don't care what the record is. I don't care how they're playing. They're the Boston damn Celtics. And the Raptors this year defensively has been abysmal. Other than that first few games and that 5-game win streak, they've been terrible defensively. And it continued again tonight, 114 allowed. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You enjoyed the video and did not enjoy the game today, smack the like button. Do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button. You guys not already. Comment down below. Thoughts on the video, thoughts on the game. Would you like, would you not like from today's game for the Toronto Raptors? Twitter link is down below, so follow up. Send me a DM. Do like great stuff on there. Instagram link is down below as well, so follow up there if you guys have not done so already. And I will talk to you guys Leafs edition. I'm debating tonight. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, they play the San Jose Sharks in a few minutes now. 10:30 puck drop. As they look to continue to stay red hot. They look for their second win in the California swing. It's going to be a tough one, though, no matter what. I don't care what the record is of any team out there in the West Coast. That is not an easy game. Got to find a way to do a job in San Jose tonight. As for the Toronto Raptors, their next contest, as we talked about, is at home against the Boston Celtics on Sunday afternoon or early evening. 6 p.m. tip-off there is, I don't know what team we're going to see, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll talk to you guys then.